All right, everyone. Thank you for checking in the Next Level Experience Google Hangout. Today we have a very special guest, a very good friend, Michael Zeller, who's a serial entrepreneur, real estate investor. He's also a fashion designer, and he recently is launching his brand new company called WearTrim.com. Michael, thank you, brother. Thank you for taking time of your busy schedule to be in the Hangout with us. Can't wait to get started and see what you've been up to, man.
Glad to be here, Raul. Thanks for having me on, man, and glad to connect with your audience. You've got an awesome audience, and you're up to a lot of great stuff as well, so always great connecting with you.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. So let's jump in. What's going on with you? I mean, you are in the real estate game still, and you also have another company in the auto industry. And right now you're launching your fashion line. So tell me how, like, somebody like you just could handle so many projects at the same time. How can that be possible?
Yeah, great question. First, it begins with having a great team and be willing to delegate and bring on other people that are complementary, that are better than you at certain things. I've really learned that over the last 3 or 4 years, and as a result, it's really freed me. It's freed me to, when I've given myself permission to delegate and to hire talented people, like I go for A players, or people that have the potential to be A players, and that just gives me the peace of mind and the freedom to really run after something great and to fulfill my dreams of creating world-class companies and businesses.
Awesome. I mean, I could relate because I remember when I was building my real estate company, I was such a control freak, man. I didn't want to delegate anything because I wanted to have my hands in everything. And I remember, like, one day being proud that my phone was blowing off and I couldn't sit down for dinner. And I was telling, I think it was a client of mine saying, hey, man, I'm so important. Everybody wants to talk to me. Like, I'm getting texts, emails, because we have the illusion as an entrepreneur that the busier we are, the more profitable or the more significant we become. So how did you make that switch of saying, you know what, this is bullshit, I can't do everything, I need to delegate? How did that come about?
Yeah, really came through a process of starting to create boundaries. I read the best book for entrepreneurship I think ever, 4 Hour Work Week. I've read it actually 4 times now, and that helped me just start shifting my thinking to how can I create systems, how can I create patterns of behavior that don't burn me out. Because in the midst of those days where you have phone call after phone call, email, text, and you're going nonstop from meeting to meeting, and you feel you're overwhelmed, you have too much work on your plate, too many demands, you can't but be burned out eventually, and just mentally and emotionally fried, and it's not a good quality of life. I read another book called The Power of Full Engagement, and it talks about how the secret to high performance is not the management of time, but the management of energy, and specifically 4 key energy types: emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual. And you create these rhythms in your life where you're engaged and then disengaged from work. And so, like, I'm in airplane mode right now. I go in airplane mode on my phone multiple times during the day. When I'm on a date with a beautiful woman, I'm in airplane mode. When I'm at dinner with a friend, I'm on airplane mode. When I'm at lunch with another client or a friend, airplane mode. And but first, you do have to start too of giving yourself permission, and then also realizing you're not the best at everything, and it's okay to hire. And the rule of delegation is if someone is 80% as good as you are at something, then you should delegate it. So it's something I haven't had that much trouble with, but I've had to grow in it and become more aware of areas I can delegate, and it's been awesome, really, as I've gotten better and better at it.
Love it, man. And you speak in my language because I really, really love to teach people about energy. I believe that without energy, you pretty much have nothing, because I met so many entrepreneurs who get burned out.
Yeah.
And so from experience, man, I got burned out. I was in the real estate game, and I sustained a certain level of lifestyle and capacity that when the market crashed, I wasn't prepared, and it burned me out.
No doubt.
How did that situation, the real estate game for you, was that an easy game, or was it something that you kind of like fell in your lap? How did you came into the real estate game?
Great question. I originally got into it to learn how to invest. So I bought my first rental property when I was like 24, 25 years old. Had just moved to Nashville. I just had a kind of in-between job waiting tables at PF Chang's. And I bought my first house then. It was a duplex, and it came with people living in it. So it came with two people in the house, and they paid for most of the mortgage. And then while I was at the closing table, my loan officer was like, "Mike, have you ever thought about getting into real estate?" And I said, "No, I haven't." And he's like, "You should. You might be good at it." So next week, I went out and got a job as a loan officer. Did that for a year and a half. I was just a mediocre loan officer. I wasn't great by any means, but finally I got nudged into becoming a realtor and kicked butt. Was rookie of the year. It just fit my personality. I'm a hungry go-getter, self-starter. And also, Nashville is a growing market too, but I like being in control of my own destiny. And that, for the first time in my life, I was basically self-employed at the age of 26, 27, and rocked and rolled and made twice as much money my first year doing that than any other year before, and had an amazing first 3 years. But then I started getting burned out because of the patterns of life. I was working 7 days a week, didn't have an assistant, didn't know how to delegate, and when I was getting angry at my roommates over nothing at the time, and my best friend, I was living with my brother and my best friend, and then that's when I realized I had to make a shift, and that's when I really got serious about learning how to delegate and creating healthier patterns in my life.
Yeah, I love you in the story because I got into the real estate game through reading the book Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Mm-hmm.
And that book, I remember reading that book, and I was sitting in my corporate office. I was 22 years old, working for an international firm, loving what I was doing.
Yeah.
But after 6 months, I was sick and tired of being in the corporate world, man. Mm-hmm. And I was blessed enough that I got burned out in the corporate world in such short period of time that I lasted only 2 years. But I built my real estate business based out of that book.
Yeah.
Just like you said, man, it's as easy as taking steps of buying your first property. And same thing, I started as an investor too. Then I got my license. I own a mortgage company. I own a real estate company. Then we have an investment firm. But everyone thinks that the real estate game, to start anything, they need to start at the top. And the reality is, you need to start making a decision to do something right away.
Yeah.
And that's what you did, brother. You did that. So you conquered the real estate game. Then you got into the car dealership game. So how did you venture into that business?
Yeah, really it came down to I took my first mini sabbatical. I actually went to Argentina for 6 weeks, inspired by a 4-hour work week, and just created a little mini retirement and literally unplugged. I didn't turn my phone on once while I was down there, checked work email maybe twice, and had fun, unplugged, created space in my life to breathe, for me to realize the pattern in my life. Like I looked at the trajectory of my life and the direction that I was going, and I realized, if I keep doing this, am I really going to be happy? And I had this longing, in my soul that I was created for something more. I was meant to do something more than just become one of the best real estate agents in the city of Nashville and sell a bunch of houses and invest in properties. And so I came back. The next year, I linked arms with two of my best friends at the time, and we started a socially minded car dealership. It's CarMax meets Tom Shoes. So basically, we have a low upfront, no haggle price, and try and give everyone a great deal. So not the typical car dealership. And then every car we sell helps us give away another car to a single mother or someone in need. And we partner with nonprofits. In 3 years of business, we've given away like 18 or 19 cars, and
wow,
almost 20% of our profit, actually.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. So you took that. See, when people talk about the investment opportunities that real estate has, real estate really allows people like you and me to create wealth, to create the opportunities, to be able to pursue the passion, to pursue other things. So you use what you learn in the real estate business to actually start in other industries, but then you actually were able to contribute because you found, like, people who think that, okay, the car industry, it's sleazy or salesy.
Yeah.
So you created a whole different way of looking at it, which is buy a car and now help a single mother or an elderly mother to actually have a ride that's going to be able to go to work. That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and another thing that I often think about is like principles are few, methods are many. And so you think within business, what I've been, much like you, Raul, I've been on this journey of learning to master the game of business, and master the skills of business, because they apply for every industry. Now the techniques are a little bit different, and some are more tech focused, some are more, more dinosaur industries, like the real estate business and the car business. That's a dinosaur industry.
Mm.
Even the fashion world is a little bit of an old school business generally, but I can apply new methods and new techniques in those businesses, but the principles are still the same. And so I'm learning, I want to become amazing or extraordinary at being a businessman, an entrepreneur, and creating world-class businesses that serve people exceptionally well. And so fashion is my new one, obviously, and I'm super pumped about that. It's the first time I get to create a product, and there's creative energy that comes in creating a product versus just creating services. And so that's been really exciting, and also I've been frustrated for years for guys not having clothes that fit well.
Yeah.
And half of us look sloppy because we just don't know that there's better options out there, or clothing manufacturers don't give a flying rip about making clothes that actually fit a man right. So that's part of why I created Trim. It's sorry, go ahead.
Awesome, brother. So when I'm here, I don't want to jump too ahead, but I just kind of like want to give the tidbits to the people here in this interview. Is that the game of business is a game. You could create the same game in real estate as in the car dealership business, and then switch it to the fashion world because it's all the same. It's mastering the game of business, is really allowing yourself to use every single tool. So right now you're going for your passion, which is fashion. And so many people right now are working an industry that they really are not passionate about because they're focusing in one thing and one thing only, which is money.
Yeah.
So what changed in you that you say, what, I could make a lot of money in real estate because investing in Nashville is hot. You could make a lot of money in the car dealership, especially with your concept that really you could go nationwide and have tons of people buying your system. What made you go into something like the fashion world, which is very unique, but at the same time I could see that as your passion?
Yeah, great question. It's just the desire. I'm reading a book right now. What is it? How Adam Smith Can Change Your Life. It's called How Adam Smith Can Change Your Life. Adam Smith is the famous economist that wrote The Wealth of Nations. So he's the bedrock. His ideas, his philosophy is the bedrock of the foundation of capitalism. Mm. And this book right now, it's actually almost a summary of his book, his precursor to that book. Forgot the name of it, but it's his only other book that he actually wrote. And in that book, he actually talks about how us as human beings, we have this innate desire to do something of meaning, but to do something also that we enjoy. Mm. And so us as people, we're going to be, it's not just about the money. You got to have enough money to live, right? And a lot of those books talk about that 4-hour work week. Real estate provides enough money for me to live very comfortably the rest of my life if I want. But to do something I really enjoy, I need to stretch myself. I need to grow. I'm a person who needs to constantly grow, and I'm going to make mistakes. I've lost plenty of money in business. This is actually my third product idea that I've worked on. My very first one that I've brought to the market. The other two, I've invested $15,000, $20,000 a piece on those suckers and never got to the market. So that's 20 grand, 40 grand total just blown. But it wasn't wasted because I learned from it. And it was still an enjoyable process. And now I've actually gotten something to market. I've got sales. I've got people backing us on Kickstarter. Fingers crossed we have a really successful campaign. But it still doesn't mean we're even profitable by year 2. Hopefully we are. Eventually, I'm going to pull the plug if we're not profitable, but I think we will be. But it's fulfilling, and work is intrinsically fulfilling when we feel empowered to do what we love, when we can create, when we have autonomy in our work. And so I think of that not only for my own self, but how do I create that for the people that work for me, that are working on my team? How do I create this freedom for them to accomplish what they want to accomplish and give them challenges and goals and growth within their role?
It's also because what I'm hearing is that being in business, an entrepreneur, you created enough cash flow in your investment so you could pursue your purpose, so you could pursue your passion. You know, and I look at any business that I look into right now, I look for two things. I look at what's the impact that I'm going to make and what's the lifestyle that I want to have.
Yeah.
Because right now, for example, if you guys could hear, is my daughter playing the piano outside with the piano teacher because I'm able to have this opportunity using the technology that we have available to communicate with people during my daughter's learning piano right now.
Yeah.
And that's something that I couldn't do before because I used to wear a suit and tie every single day and conquer like New York City or conquer skyscrapers. So the last 2 years, what I really have been able to do is take things to the whole different level with my lifestyle. Like right now, I want to take my jacket off because it just came from shopping with my son, and I wanted to get into this Google Hangout before it was too late. But my business right now is a lifestyle business. It's a profitable business, but I'm always looking for what's the lifestyle. How much time can I spend with my family? How much time do I spend with my clients that I love, as opposed to thinking so much of how much money I'm going to make today? So how did you make that decision, Mike, to say, okay, here is the money that I could make in other businesses, and here's the potential that I have to make in the fashion world? How did you assess the risk about that?
You know, great question. Honestly, I'm not necessarily the best at assessing the risk. I'm one of those entrepreneurs, like many of us, where I'm a little irrationally optimistic. So you know, you have those dreams of, boom, I'm going to have this viral hit and sell $300,000 worth of product in 30 days, and which we're not going to do. You know, we'll sell, fingers crossed, 50,000, which is still I'd be happy with for sure. But I didn't really assess the risk as much as I just made small steps forward. I didn't really know what I was doing. I've never started a fashion line. I never have created a product. I've tried, right? And every step along the way, I just said, hey, I have this dream, and then I would meet someone. Like I met this guy, Keith, at a Tony Robbins event, and he's a celebrity stylist. And I began the conversation with him when I saw him again 8 months later. But I'd already hired this girl, Mariah, as my personal assistant, and I just had this idea to at the time I was going to create a really nice backpack, like a designer $200 backpack. And then that evolved into creating shirts for the athletic or trim man, which is what we've created. And then, you know, then I had to research like manufacturers and designers and around the country, and she found some, but we didn't really make much headway then. But Keith opened up the door, and then that opened up the door to another contact and another contact and another contact. And now I have multiple contacts, and it's the challenge in life is not necessarily how am I going to get from way over here, from the very beginning, to this full-fledged company. That's not necessarily the question that we should ask ourselves. The question is like, what is my small next step? What is going to build a little bit of momentum? What is going to take me to the next level? One more step forward. Because we don't know the future. The future is too complicated, and it really just takes courage to go for that next step. And that's how I have a lot of questions on my own business that started. There's what am I going to create next? T-shirts, jeans, jackets. I don't really know. Who's going to be my designer? I don't really know. But we're going to figure that out. I've got prospects. I've got people I'm meeting with this month, but there's a lot of unknown. But we're going to figure it out along the way.
Also, what I like about this is one thing I teach is the edge. How to have the edge. Like you can build a business unless you have that edge. And the way I frame the edge is E stands for energy, D determination. That's the edge. G for being guided, and E for execution. So by having the edge, the energy, the determination to be guided to execute will take you to step by step to the next level. And what I'm hearing from you is that you don't know everything how it's going to turn out, but you're focusing on the next step.
Yeah.
And so many people out there, they just looking for everything to be perfect, everything to be like given to them. Like here is this fashion line, go launch it. Here is this great idea, go launch it. And the reality, the world is full of people with potential. I did a video today talking about potential. Potential is not going to pay your fucking bills. Execution is going to get you closer to getting bills paid. And what you've done is you actually executed. So now let's talk about what type of line, what type of fashion line you're launching. Tell me about what your product is.
Yeah, great question. So it's think European designers in the sense of Hugo Boss, Armani, John Varvatos, especially. I mean, he's actually out of Detroit originally, but that type of design aesthetic, a little bit of edge, high fashion, high style, but a little edgy. That can be worn in casual or business casual, but fitted exclusively and only for the athletic or trim man. Meaning, for me, I'm an athletic build, or if I don't work out, I'm a thinner dude. I'm not a overweight, type guy. If I ate like crap and never worked out, I'm sure I could get there. But it's designed for specifically. That's my niche. I have had to choose. Who am I going after and who am I not going after? The majority of American clothing makers for men, they make one size fits all type deal. It's one shape. It's a box shaped shirt or box shaped sport coat or jacket. It's not designed for someone like you or me where it's a little bit more of an athletic build or a thinner build. And so all of our clothing is fitted for that. Basically, we're solving what I like to call the triple F dilemma, which is the choice that most men have to make between choosing either something that's fashionable or something that fits right. Because there's a lot of, if you get something tailored, which is a pain in the butt, so we want to take away the tailor, that's part of our goal too, or something that's functional. You think of the Lululemon, the Under Armour type clothing, it's really comfortable and it has stretch to it, which makes it comfortable, but you can't wear that out. You're not going to go on a date in Under Armour, gear usually. So we're bringing in elements of stretch. Like all of our clothing will have a little bit of stretch to it, so it's really comfortable to wear. Because one of the challenges, if you're wearing something that fits you right, you want to be able to move your arms. You don't want to feel restricted. No guy likes to feel restricted. So all of our clothing will have a little bit of stretch. An online-only sales model, so we can offer a better value to our customers. And then also made right here in the USA. All of our clothing at this point, at least, is made in Los Angeles.
That's awesome. That's awesome. A lot of people don't know how a good suit or a good shirt or a good fitted outfit goes a long way with presentations. I remember back in 2008 when the market crashed, and I had to switch my mindset in real estate to go into the corporate real estate, like visiting banks and visiting, vendors that we will go after their business for nationwide properties.
Yeah.
I bought an Armani suit and I wore the Armani suit and I spent money on getting it tailored. And every time I stepped to the meetings, all the real estate guys used to have this, big suits that didn't fit, and I was with my fit suit and I stood out from the crowd.
Yeah.
But it took a while to get a tailor, and right now I have my tailor in payroll. Like my tailor is always on payroll, so I'm solving that problem, and I'm getting like clothes that fit, because they make a great impression of, an impression that you make with the way that you present yourself goes a long way to say what's your work ethic as well.
So, yeah, and part of our philosophy is not only asking how can we help men dress better, but how can we help men be better men? And part of it is, if you walked into those real estate meetings wearing that sharp dressed Armani suit that fit you right, you have more confidence. You're able to accomplish your mission and your purpose with greater effectiveness and strength partly because of the way you dressed. You knew, hey man, I look money today. I got this. I'm going to nail this presentation, or I'm looking sharp. I'm on it, and it just changes your whole demeanor. What you wear and how you feel about yourself obviously changes everything about how you accomplish your day.
Love it, man. Maybe we should talk about making a line with your brand called The Edge. That way, the men who wear the Edge clothing, man, they have that fire in their eyes to make it happen.
No doubt, no doubt.
Love it, man. Love it. So let us know, how can we support this movement? How can we support making this fashion line more successful?
Great question. First thing would be check out our Kickstarter. I'll send you the link, Raul, and if you want to share it with the people watching, that'd be great. But if you like it, that would be amazing if you would back us on Kickstarter. Basically, backing us on Kickstarter is a way of pre-selling a product. It's a test of concept. Of course, if any of you guys decide you want to start a Kickstarter for your own product or idea, I'd be glad to share more insight in terms of how we've planned out our Kickstarter to help ensure success. But backing us on Kickstarter, which is pre-selling, our first collection of clothing, we're going to do a whole lot more than what we're offering just now on Kickstarter. But you got to start somewhere, and we have some really great shirts on Kickstarter right now. So I'd love for you guys to back us if it speaks to you.
What's your website so they can visit your website?
It's weartrim.com.
Awesome, guys. See, and that's another way to start a company, which is crowdfunding. Kickstarter, if you don't know what it is, it's a crowdfunding. So go to kickstarter.com so you can support the movement. That's a crowdfunding website where you're going to be able to continue to support other entrepreneurs in their dream, in their purpose, in their mission. And using technology right now, there's really no excuse why not to pursue your passion. There's no excuse why not to do something that you're passionate about, because so many of us who have the potential are not cashing into that potential because we don't know where to start. So if you want to reach out to Mike, he'll give you all the details as well of how to start your own Kickstarter campaign.
Yep, you got it. Glad to, man.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. Thank you very much. I know you're a busy guy, so I don't want to keep you long. Anybody who's watching this, remember, go to www.thenextlevelexperience.com to sign up for The Edge, and visit www.weartrim.com to support Mike and his movement. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Glad to. Thanks for having me on, Raul.
Much success. Learn it, live it, experience it. Love life.
You got it.